Hi everyone, and welcome to our Kooyman Web Workshop Father's Day edition. We challenge you to build your very own outdoor bench. This is a project that should take no more than 40 minutes. We believe that this is a fun father and son project that can be done just in time for Father's Day. So with that being said, clear your workspace, grab your tools, and let me get started. Here's what you will need. 4 2x8x8 pieces of lumber and a handful of exterior wood screws or deck screws. And for the tools, you'll need a hammer drill, miter saw, which is optional, or chop saw, circular saw, 60T ultra finish saw blade, speed square, tape measure, pencil, safety glasses, and hearing protection. So we're going to start by measuring the angles for the longer part of the leg. We're going to measure out 8 feet. We're going to mark it and cut it. We're going to take the speed square, use our pencil, carpenter's pencil, to draw a straight line down perpendicular from the board. And we're going to get this out the way. This is the 8 foot. This is the excess piece. We're going to get this out the way. With the 8 feet part, we want to cut it in half at 48 inches of 2 parts. So again, we're going to follow the same routine, measure out 4 feet. We're going to put a pencil mark. And then we're going to draw a straight line, once again perpendicular to the board. And there we have our two-part for the legs. So we're going to begin with the leg part of the bench. We're going to begin by measuring the angle cuts for the longer part of the board, of the legs. We're going to take our speed square, make sure you use the corner of the speed square and place it to the corner of the bottom part of the board. You want to find your 30-degree angle. You would then take your carpenter's pencil and mark out the angle. After this step is completed, we're going to cut this off so we can get the other measurements of the board. We're going to measure 38 inches, and this would be considered the longer part of the board. Across from that, for the taper, we're going to measure 19 inches back up. From the 38, we're going to measure 4.5 inches inside. And then we're going to draw a diagonal line from the 4.5 to meet the 21 inches. Connect the 21 inches to the 4.5 inches. And then that would be considered our taper. Once this is established, we're going to cut the angle cuts, and then we have the first part of the leg, and then we're going to move along to the shorter part, which is the second part of the first leg. So now we're cutting the excess part of the 38-inch mark that we marked out. You want to always make sure your blade is off before you move it. And now we're going to cut the taper from the 4.5 inches down to the 21 inches. And with that, we have our bottom part of the leg, our taper, and our top part of the board. So now we're going to move along to making the measurement for the angle cuts for the shorter part of the leg. We're going to start by taking our speed square, lining the corner of the speed square to the bottom corner of the board. We're going to mark out our 40-degree angle. Once we have got the 40-degree angle, we're going to then cut. Once the 40-degree angle is established, we want to then measure 19 inches from the point of the board, 19 inches up, make a mark. And then we're going to make a 45-degree angle with the speed square on the 19-inch mark. And then we're going to cut. And here we have our second part of the smaller part of the leg. Now that the angles has been cut for both parts of the leg, we're going to take the longer part of the leg, and we're going to take the shorter part. We're going to place it on top of the longer part with the 45-degree angle facing on above, the 40-degree angle at the bottom. We want to use an extra piece of lumber to place underneath to keep stability. We want to use a template of the flooring from another board. Then we're going to measure 6 inches from 6.5 inches from the shorter part in between to the longer part. And on the longer part, 5 3/8 to the shorter part. We want to make sure that both parts of the leg are flat against our flooring. Again, it's for stability. We then want to secure the two parts of the one leg by using our wood screws. We're going to use 2-inch wood screws and make 4 incisions on the inner part, and that way is to hide the screws for a nicer finish. Once that is completed, we then have our first part of one leg. For our second leg, we're going to use pretty much the same procedure, the same steps, and of course it's going to be a mirrored effect. Voila. And that will complete our second leg. And here we have the mirrored effect with the shorter part on the inner side of the legs. Our 48-inch plank, 4-foot plank, we want to use this as a spacer as we space in between the legs. Yeah. Okay, so once the spacer is tight against the legs, we then can begin putting our seating together. With our seating, we're going to use a 45-inch board to place in front with 1.5-inch overhang on the inner part of the shorter leg. You want to make sure that it's secure. It's 1.5 inch on both sides, but we're going to secure this one first by putting 2 wood screws at the top part of the board. Okay, securely fastened, and we want to repeat the same process on the second leg. And we securely fasten it with 2 wood screws, deck screws. So now we're going to do the second part of the seating by placing the 48-inch plank board in between, fitted in between. We're going to use the same pencil to use as a spacer, and we're going to hit the second board right up to the first board against the pencil, against the spacer, and we're going to put 2 deck screws, this time on the side of the leg. We're going to follow the same procedure on the next side, where we're going to use the pencil as a spacer and 2 screws on the side of the leg. And that will complete our seating. Once the back part is completed, if you want to have additional support, we're going to send 2 screws on the top, on the inner part of the leg. And of course, we're going to follow the same steps on the next side. Now we have completed the seating part. We're going to move along to the top part, the back part of the bench, and we want to carry it to the top of the leg and make sure that it sits flush with the top part of the leg. And then we're going to send 2 deck screws on the side from the leg into the board. And we're going to repeat the same step on the next side. Your back seating have 2 parts. We're going to use the second part at the bottom of the bench, the back part seating, and then we're going to make sure that the bottom half is perpendicular to the taper. We also want to use a spacer in between for the two parts, which we can use it with our pencil as a spacer. We're going to assemble the first part. And then we're going to assemble the second part. We're going to repeat the same step. And with that, we've just completed the back part of the bench. So for the full tutorial and list of materials and tools, please visit our website at kooymanbv.com. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.